India alone is generating a revenue of $230 million. That is out of 600 full members, there's a full member and associate member. The full member contribution is $532 million. Out of that, 50%, more than 50%, is being generated by India. Next big chunk is generated by Australia, 37.53. So 231 million to 37.53. You see the difference. These 12 people who are top level performer or the top level guy, top notch leader, they cannot be equated with the 1190 people salary. They get salaries maybe more than equated, more than 190 because they're running the organization. They're keeping that 190 people's salary to be credited on time. They're responsible for.
So here the difference between India and New Zealand is 38.5 and 6.5, as you rightly said, 230 and 37 million. It's a huge disparity, which now England and Australia are
So I am earning 6 times more than yours.
They are saying India is arm twisting. I'm just asking your view. India is arm twisting. So
I don't think so. So it is always a give and take ratio, Rahul. You have to understand this. If we have a market in India today. You launch a shoe, you launch a bat. The people are the foreign cricketers are very eager to play IPL. They're not very eager to play South Africa T20. Very sorry. They're not going to Caribbean League, Caribbean Premier League. They're not into PSL. They want to IPL. They want to play IPL. Why? Because more money, more market.
First of all, Rahul, India is actually contributing to 75% of the money that ICC earns. And they are not getting 75% of ICC's funding, right? They're getting 38%. So you cannot say that they are getting also 75%, right? So they are getting half of what they're contributing. So there is no question of controversy, right? I mean, I'm actually getting less than what I am giving you.
So whether the monopoly is good for the game?
No, monopoly, so that is how things are happening because India is contributing more, therefore India should get more. In fact, one should be happy that India is not demanding even higher. That is our grace that we are not demanding higher. And also the fact that India clearly seems to have a massive bias towards the shorter version of the game, completely forgetting about not really being so serious about Test cricket, which I believe is probably the version of the game which really represents it in its true value.
Compare in terms of the revenue which India generates, I think 38.5 is fair enough. I feel, India is contributing 70%. So this model has been based on equitable distribution, not equal distribution.
Correct.
It is equitable distribution.
Equitable distribution.
I think it is the onus is also on other countries to generate more revenue, so that which is good for the ICC. It cannot be India's sole responsibility. It's not a charitable trust, They are not here for charity, India.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a very, very complex and intricate topic which we are going to discuss today. It is the ICC model which is running for the last few years, in which India seems to be the big daddy. And we would like to have a panelist. We have a full panel today, Kunal, Ayan, Amit, and Sudeep. We will discuss the amount of money that India generates in the ICC model, and we also will discuss whether that is fair and whether India flexes the correct muscles to demand what they demand. So there are two parts to it, whether the money that India demands is equivalent to the percentage that it comes out. And secondly, of course, it is most important is whether India deserves this money. So we will have discussions. I will start off with Kunal because Kunal brings about a very different perspective, being a HR head of a huge company where he handles 1,200 people. He has been a senior HR manager of another very huge company for many years. So 20 plus years of experience for Kunal. My first question to you, Kunal, is you have a superstar performer who gives you 100% target or 120% of the entire organization. I'll repeat it again. Someone who is superhuman, who achieves maybe a big organization's 180% performance target across board. As an HR, when you sit with the allocation of budget, will you reward him with 80% of the bonus kitty? Yes or no?
There are two angles to it. Now, first of all, we are seeing the percentage of share. Why this percentage of share has been decided? You know, have you seen this proposed finance model of 2024 to 27 by ICC? India alone is generating a revenue of $230 million. So that is out of 600 full members, there's a full member and associate member. The full member contribution is $532 million. So out of that, 50%, more than 50%, is being generated by India. Next big chunk is generated by Australia, 37.53. So 231 million to 37.53. You see the difference. So the people who bring, like you have people in sales, you have people in your finance, in your organization. Definitely the sales director gets the more money than the finance director. Always.
My question was, Kunal, if in your organization, one person is doing target of 1,100 but that you have around 1,200, will you pay bonus of 1,000 people to him? Is my question to you.
Yeah,
that is what is happening with India now. India is taking 80% or more of the revenue. We'll come to the dynamics, which you said is right. The dynamics is correct. But will you, as an HR head, because I'm drawing a correlation because you are maybe ICC. So one person in your team is doing 85% of revenue, and the rest 1,100 doing almost 15%. Will you give him 85% of your budget you have of allocation every year?
I am giving in 40-60 ratio. The guy who brings me 85% of the revenue of the organization, I'm giving him 38% back, not 85%. Understand it? This is simple maths. So I am raised 60%. It's been distributed among all the countries. So it happens. A guy who, suppose I'm a businessman, I am bringing the revenue to this entire business. Definitely, I'll enjoy the share of 40%. And it's for if the share would have been 60-40, then I said it is not fair. You're giving 60% to one, 40% to others, but it's other ways. It's 40-60 model, and it is a sustainable model. Suppose a guy, India earns 231, they gets 38%, 40% share. Definitely, that's why that's the incentive. Tomorrow, India can upsurge their revenue to $250 million or $300 million. So India has a power today, and they have their own den. They have
power we'll discuss later. My question, because you were an HR for a very long time, my question is: will you give the same thing if one of your performers is doing that in your team? Will you give it or not?
If one of my performer is helping this ship to be steadied and cruise, definitely yes. Why not? If I have a 5-6 members team and one of them is doing well, he deserves a better PLI. He will get his performance incentive more than anyone else if he earns more. Suppose India would have earned the same money, if this debate would have been appropriate, that everybody is earning the same and India is getting the more share. It's not that. The difference between, I said, first and second is humongous.
I agree. I'm saying for a kitty, like you are saying it is 532
now you
members.
I give an example. I got your point. I give an example.
Yeah. That is where I'm trying to come. So in a when the filter is big, Kunal, when you have a 1,200, I know your strength of employees. So for in 1,200, if 10 people are doing 1,200 work, will 1,190 be deprived?
No, these 12 people who are top level performer or the top level guy, top notch leader, they cannot be equated with the 1,190 people salary. They get salaries maybe more than 190 because they're running the organization. they're keeping that 190 people's, salary to be credited on time. They're responsible for. So that's number one. Number two, if I have a two salesperson, one earns say 200 rupees for me, one earns 20 rupees for me. Will you give them incentive in a similar way or in an equal way? Then what is the motivation for a guy who earns 200 million
I
and
agree.
who
I
earns 20
agree.
million?
I agree. But this 1190 comes to you and says that 10 of them take 90% and we 1190 get 10%. When they become minuscule, how will you
If
run a ship when the
I
and
if
1190
if
is unhappy?
if
I'm
if
talking of
if I
unhappiness.
if I take out the performance of that 10 out of the
Hmm.
organizational revenue model, then
Hmm.
what is your earning? Then 11,990 people is earning how much? 10 rupees. Will that help the organization to grow? Will that organization will that help the organization to invest somewhere? Will that help the organization to arrange their working capital, do more profits? Will that investment or will that particular step help the organization to grow and prosper? Answer is no. So there are been instances, there will be people within the department itself, where there are a team of 60, 50, 5 or 6 people will get more money than the rest 55.
So here the difference between India and New Zealand is 38.5 and 6.5, as you rightly said, 230 and 37 million. It's a huge disparity, which now England and Australia are
So
saying that
I am earning
India is
6 times more than
India is
yours.
unfairly. They are saying India is arm twisting. I'm just asking your view. India is arm twisting. So
I
same thing
don't
is
think
applies
so.
to
I
your.
don't think so. I don't think so. I said, I'm twisting. I said, it's suppose a chef at your home who prepares 6 menus every day or
Hmm.
6 recipes every day. A chef at
Hmm.
my home prepares
Hmm.
1 recipe or 2 recipes at the max.
Hmm.
Who deserves more money?
But could be complexities.
No,
Your
complexity.
culinary
Yes,
taste could be
complexities.
complex.
The
Your homes
complexities. Yes,
maybe
yes.
complexities
You are
may be
right.
more.
You are right. You are right. Complexities. Complexities are there. See, the other members are not full. They can easily, England, New Zealand, every country have got equal power on the field. They say, no, I will not play with India if the India doesn't share this more profit. Why they are accepting this model? Why ICC? Who is ICC chairman? Mr. Jaisha. Before that, who was ICC chairman?
I think Malcolm Edward, some Edward. I think it's from
Edward.
Australia. Yeah, Edward, Australia. No, but
So there are
unfortunately, India's muscle power has been more. In spite of England or Australia being the chairman, that is where the problem is coming. They are saying India is muscle powering because of advertising rights, which will slowly come to iron also. Because the advertising rights are sold because every country wants India to come. Every country wants India to play them. So there is a problem there also. Because unless India comes, the money doesn't come.
so it is always a give and take ratio, Rahul. You have to understand this. If we have a market in India today. You launch a shoe, you launch a bat. The people are the foreign cricketers are very eager to play IPL. They're not very eager to play South Africa T20. Very sorry. They're not into Caribbean League, Caribbean Premier League. They're not into PSL. They want to IPL. They want to play IPL. Why? Because there's more money, more market. And you see the changes in the lifestyle of a couple of players. See, Indian board has got the power to encash. They're selling the TV rights in a very handsome price. So they earn more money. And today,
So
BCCI,
yeah. Tell
today
me, Kunal.
BCCI is utilizing this money in a very nice way. They're giving a pension to the every Ranji Trophy players who played more than 3 matches. To their survival has been
70,000
taken care.
rupees. 70,000 rupees, correct.
Because survival
So
is taken care.
So you are okay, Kunal, as HR head of a big organization, that 10% of your 1,200 will deliver 90 and you will pay them
So
90.
they,
I'm talking of the percentage, Kunal. 90% you will pay them.
it's not about simple
Even
maths.
if 1190 is unhappy, even if 1190 is unhappy, I'll come to Sudeep also because he is also in PNL.
1190 is not unhappy. 1190 is knowing the reality. Either 10 CEO or 10 functional head today gets the more money because of me. They are on that ladder. Their heads on always on the edge. They take the heat. They face the board. So there are a lot of consequences. Who earns more money than you? It's not the same people, same quality, and one earns more, one earns less. No. The guy earns more 20 times more than you, 6 times, 3 times more than you for the company. Definitely the company will pay him more. There's no rocket science. A manufacturing plant, I'm giving an example, 2 manufacturing plant of same product line. one manufactures say for 400 tons of metric product, with definitely with an estimated cost and budget. Another company with the same capacity, same manpower, produce 20 tons. So whom will give this all this budget and allocation or expansion? To the bigger plant. So if the smaller plant feels, no, I have not didn't get the expansion budget, nobody is saying to me, I am being deprived. They can do the hue and cry. I don't mind.
Agree. No, here the disparity is huge. As you rightly said, 231 million, 37 million. So
So
obviously, if you are
revenue.
getting 30 and
First,
getting another,
you earn the you create the revenue, get it more.
you are giving 30 lakhs bonus to someone, you give 3 lakhs bonus. So that is what I'm trying to tell you. So you are
That
saying
has
as a
been
HRA,
that has been designed. That has been designed in a way
that is what
that
I'm
why
saying.
somebody
So
gets 30
you
lakhs,
as
why
a,
get 3 lakhs?
so you
Because
as a HRA,
because
you
because
okay to
understand
design that.
because understand, but the guy who gets 3 lakhs, his fixed salary is 97% out of 100%. The guy who gets 30 lakhs, his fixed salary is 70%. So chances of losing the bigger guy is more if he doesn't get the PLI.
So as a HR head, you are okay to do that, as what BCCI is doing. I mean, ICC
It's,
is
it's,
happening.
it's very fundamental. It's not about, we cannot mix this to the organization to organization to organization to ICC. There are two reasons
I
behind it.
agree. I'm saying, are you sustainable with this? What ICC is happening? That model, are you sustainable as HRA? I'm just asking you as HRA, are you sustainable?
Till India contribute more in that particular manner out of
Okay,
$532
fair enough.
million. Yeah, please. If they
Thank
earn
you so much,
231,
Kunal.
it's
I
fair
got your
enough.
understanding. I got your point. Yes, thanks.
Thank
Ayon,
you.
come to you because you are also
Yeah.
you've been a dean of a big organization. From an academic point of view, is this model fair? Because Kunal gave me a logistic view because he's an HR head. He does the same thing what ICC is doing on the money side. I am asking you on the logistics, holistic side. Holistically, are you think it is fair that India gets this money? Ayon.
So one thing, first of all, Rahul, India is actually contributing to 75% of the money that ICC earns. And they are not getting 75% of ICC's funding, right? They're getting 38%. So you cannot say that they are getting also 75%, right? So they are getting half of what they're contributing. So there is no question of controversy, right? I mean, I'm actually getting less than what I am giving you. I mean, you are saying 90%. That's not correct,
Yeah,
no? Because you are
correct.
giving 75%,
That is because
but
I have to give it
uh,
to other 500 associate
whatever.
members
No,
also.
no,
That is
no.
why
But
my percentage comes down.
your comparison, where you sort of said to Kunal that if the 10 people get 90%, it's not 90%. First, let's get it clear. You are giving 75% and you're getting back only 38%. So half of it, which is completely fair. I mean, there cannot be any argument,
No,
right?
England and
Whatever.
Australia are saying that we are getting 6.5 and 6.3, and Big Daddy India is getting 35.
Don't say
8 and
million.
6. So that the
No,
percentage
no,
is
no.
difference.
But look at the percentage. If I contribute 100 rupees and you contribute 5 rupees, then when I get back, I can ask for 95 rupees, right? But I'm getting 50 rupees. See, that kind of thing I will not buy. See, because since cricket was sort of, discovered or cricket happened and all, the white man, if I may say so, has dominated the game. They have not even considered us to be humans to a certain extent, right? They pitied us. So it is completely fair that we pay back to them. That I have no qualms about. Right? Because at
No,
one
that
point
is
of
absolutely
time,
fine. The
so
paying
then
back thing
see,
is
but then
fine.
we are not doing something unfair. Please realize that we are contributing 75%, we are getting half of that. In fact, I think India should argue, why are you giving me 38%? You should give me 50%. And believe me, the way
Ravi
things are
Shastri said that
going,
exactly. That
yeah, so
India
why
should ask for more.
yes,
And
of
that
course.
became a very controversial discussion. That why
Why
is
should
Ravi
it
Shastri
be?
saying that? Yeah.
Why should there be any controversy? See, it is only because they have such, this continuing sense of control that they had since this game started being played internationally or whatever. This is because they do not want to let go. They have absolutely no right to crib about this, right? Because they are contributing, though every other country total is contributing 25%, and we are contributing 3 times of the total of the rest. So there is no argument here. But there is a but. If you really ask me whether that is good for the game, that is a different question. That is
Yeah, that
completely
is
a
where I
different
was also
question.
coming to. Yes.
That is
whether the monopoly is good for the game.
no, monopoly. So that is how things are happening because India is contributing more. Therefore, India should get more. In fact, one should be happy that India is not demanding even higher. That is our grace that we are not demanding higher.
Yeah,
right?
that is discussed in the last chairman of ICC chair. Where the model is continuing 38.5.
The fact that India is doing things which are, even for me, are not great for the future of the game or the way even the game is played. That is a concern for me. Because what happened in the Asia Cup, where India completely, I think they mixed politics into sports in a manner which very few games, leave aside cricket. Cricket has never seen that. Right?
Correct.
No other sport probably has, seen such an instance where opposing teams have refused to shake hands, which is not in the spirit of the game. I'm sorry, I'll say that. I do not think that should have been done. If there was such a problem, they should not have even played. Why do you even play?
I agree with
you. Right?
Absolutely.
So, and also the fact that India clearly seems to have a massive bias towards the shorter version of the game, completely forgetting about not really being so serious about Test cricket, which I believe is probably the version of the game which really represents it in its true value. India is not really a great fan of Test cricket, and that is very easily understandable from the fact that we are not giving we are not ensuring that Test cricket gets a good audience. We are not, we are having games played in unknown centers, which do not have a culture of cricket. We are not really nurturing.
Discussed this 3 times already.
Absolutely right. So that I think is a concern. I mean, in the sense that whether India's being the undoubted revenue provider of the game, the undoubted leader by far, that whether it augurs good for the game, that is a different question. But given how the game is running, given how India is contributing to the review, this is less than a fair call. India is getting less than how much it is contributing. Absolutely.
So you are agreeing that India is a big daddy? India deserves to be a big daddy.
Absolutely. Why not?
So why? So you were saying that whether it is good for the game, you were saying that it may not be good for the game.
Right.
Okay.
And I'm also
I will come back to both of you.
Another point that I might want to raise here.
Yeah, sure.
That somehow, we also discussed this at length, that the fact that, one of the great powers of the game, West Indies, it is diminishing to a point where it seems to be like, no return. I had, one point that had evolved from our discussion was that West Indies has to be shown some kind of a favored treatment because the cricket is in ICU stage, worse than ICU.
A bailout package.
For me, what is disappointing is that has absolutely not happened. So it is very clear that the other countries are not really concerned that, one of the greatest powers of the game once upon a time is slowly fizzling out. Even countries like Pakistan, where again, we see another great power of the game. That is also sort of not doing the way, one would have liked them to do in order to make cricket interesting. These are some of my greater concerns because cricket is being limited to like 4 or 5 countries, which are sort of, worthy
you
of
make
competing
this point
against
is a good
each
point.
other.
I'll come back to Kunal again after some time. Amit, what Ayan said, I'll ask you this because he made a good point. Do you think India is pushing the weaker countries? Hear me out. Do you think India, because of its muscle power in the which Kunal said, the muscle power of money of India, do you think it is pushing out countries like Kenya, Zimbabwe, not Afghanistan is on the ascent, Bangladesh, West Indies? The big money of India, is it pushing away the small countries to a point of no return, as which Ayan said, is a point of no return? Is India pushing consciously or unconsciously, so that it is in a very unholy state of a godfather, like whatever it is enjoying right now? Do you think India is pushing out some countries out of existence?
See, I mean, from a business and economic point of view, it's logical. Just think like a company which Kunalda was already mentioning. India, through the BCCI, drives, I would say, around 70 to 80% of the ICC income. Broadcasters and sponsors pay high prices only because of Indian viewership. First of all, we have to understand that. So the argument goes like, that if we bring in most of the money, we deserve a bigger share. We don't care like whether we are pushing out some of the lower ranked nations or not. But if we bring in most of the money, we deserve a bigger share, plain and simple. It is similar to how if you see the English Premier League's bigger clubs like Manchester United or Liverpool are more
But
from
there
the
you have
global
a
activities.
relegation. There you have a relegation promotion. In EPL, you have a relegation promotion. So that is what is
Exactly.
going to come in the tier 2, tier 1. But in ODI and T20, as Arun rightly said, West Indies even in T20 are unable to fill their grounds. One could be, which Roland said, the grounds are small. That is another issue. But the other is even in a shorter version of the game, West Indies are struggling. So what is your take on that? Because India
See,
wants to play T20 and ODI only.
see, look at it. Look at this in this way. The Hollywood's biggest stars like Leonardo DiCaprio or maybe Hugh Grant, they command most of the film's budget, right? Because they attract the audience. So in pure business terms, BCCI's larger share makes sense. But now coming back to the real question, like from a sporting or fairness point of view, it is, for me, it is a little problematic, which Ayanda was also pointing out that cricketing will be limited to only 4 or 5 nations, which will be very sad. However, cricket is just about business. It's supposed to be a global sport. Here is, we can call it as unfair because of this unequal development. Smaller boards, as you were mentioning, like Zimbabwe, Ireland, Kenya, get crumbs from the ICC revenue. Now they can't afford proper infrastructure or proper player payments. This widens the gap between us and the rest. So now coming back to this power imbalance, like BCCI's financial muscle often dictates this ICC's decisions, like which venues. For example, today we are playing at Navi Mumbai, right? So the venue
UI Patil.
selection schedule. Yes. So not Wankhede, right? Or is it in Wankhede?
Neither Wankhede nor Brabourne, yeah.
Yeah. So the venue selection, scheduling, because they
That is what
understand
Ayan
the
is saying.
dynamics.
Whether BCCI stranglehold on ICC is good for the game overall. I don't think it is good because there are some obviously biasness getting into it.
I won't say it's biasness, Rahul. I mean, see, global competitiveness shrinks. I mean, if smaller nations can't invest, for example, like what Ayanda was mentioning, that if you are investing in a company, let's say 100 rupees, and someone is investing 5 rupees. Now, when the company is actually giving you dividends, they will give you more, right? Because you have invested more. 100 rupees you have invested, and one person has invested 5 rupees. So if you cannot invest, cricket remains dominated by a few, hurting the global growth the ICC claims to want. I mean, so in sporting ethics terms, if you just ask about it, whether it is right or wrong, in sporting ethics terms, it's unfair. So my take would be like BCCI deserves a bigger share. Yes, I am totally in support of this, but maybe not this much. Giving it like 38% and leaving some boards with 2% or even lesser makes ICC look like a business cartel, not a kind of a global sports body. So ideally, if you want a solution for me, I mean, I would say that the ICC should have a tired structure but more balanced model, rewarding contribution while also funding global development to some of the other cricketing nations like let's say West Indies, Kenya, Zimbabwe, so that they can also flourish.
Good point. I mean, thank you so much. Sudeep, my question to you is: do you think that taking a cue from Amit, will India in future, with Jay Shah being there for 2 years, India will agree to a more larger share being used by the other boards which are on diminishing returns? Will India agree to reduce their 38.5 and thereby letting its stranglehold go? Because now the discussion is on in the next ICC meeting that whether this module will continue. If the module does not, then India might let go its 38.5 to 32.5 or something, which I was reading. So India might go about 5%, which will help the other countries. So do you think India will allow its importance to diminish?
I think if you compare in terms of the revenue which India generates, I think 38.5 is fair enough. I feel, because, see, if somebody, other countries, if they raise this issue, they must also try to generate more revenue on their part. There should be effort. India is contributing 70%. So this model has been based on equitable distribution, not equal distribution.
Correct.
It is equitable distribution.
Equitable distribution.
There's
Correct. Correct.
a marked difference between the two, and this was considered a fair model, the revenue model. So I don't think there is anything wrong. And see, I don't think India will. It won't be easy for India to accept this, the reduced, some kind of reduced revenue sharing, after taking 38.5. I think what this, it is the onus is also on other countries to generate more revenue, so that which is good for the ICC. It cannot be India's sole responsibility. It's not a charitable trust. They are not here for charity, India. So there is nothing wrong. I think 39% is fair enough.
You were saying 38.5. No, what I'm trying to ask you is, will India be able to ward off that pressure just because India is one country and England, Australia, New Zealand,
No,
South Africa, the big ones are against India? Do you think India will be able to ward that pressure to continue 38.5 model? That's what I'm trying to ask you.
But the other countries, if they raise this issue, then they should also take the additional responsibility of generating more revenue. They just can't,
very valid question.
They just can't grab the share from India. That is not okay. So maybe
Good, thanks.
there might 1 or 2%.
Yeah,
there might be adjustment. There might be some negotiation or something, final settlement. But let's see. Still early days. I don't think. But India, I don't think they will accept this. Initially.
Why we are having this discussion is because there is huge pressure now in the next meeting that India's 38.5 should come down, and even political leaders are getting involved. The British Premier is getting involved. The New Zealand PM has also put in a voice. So we thought I'll have a discussion on this. So this is
but
important.
They should also, they should also, they should also take more responsibility for more revenue generation. So it cannot be, you cannot clap with one hand.
Absolutely. So basically, every one of us are agreeing that India deserves what it gets, but with a pinch of salt, which Ayan said. My question to you, Kunal, is, do you think, since you were in HR, I wanted you especially for this show, do you think this unequitable performance, continues? Say, for example, in your organization, you have 10 people, continuing to give you 80%. Does it create a environment of, I would say, not negativity, but a low confidence environment in the majority of people who know that they will not be able to achieve, maybe in the near future, that 38.5, and hence there is an issue, a people's issue in that organization, in terms of South Africa, England, New Zealand trying to break away? Do you think there's a breakaway issue happening in ICC because of this? Do you foresee that as an HR? What do you think? If that thing happens in your organization, maybe 10 people, 90 people. So what is your take? Because money creates a lot of problem, Kunal, money creates a lot of problem in life.
Money solves a lot of problem as well. So to answer your question, definitely, as I said, money solves a lot of problem. If the situation continues, so I take my case of my organization, then it's a serious issue to be addressed by the leadership team, by the organization.
And you are part of the
organization governing body. That if another 10% or another 20% people are not contributing to your revenue, and still they expect that I will be in that equitable model, I'll get the share. That's first of all wrong perception. Second, if that 10-20% doesn't get developed, your organization will not sustain, because this 10 might collapse tomorrow. So you should ready for another 10 as a succession planning.
The model should collapse.
So India, New Zealand, Australia, England should definitely, ICC should strengthen their cricket infrastructure or modeling, so that they generate better model and sustain and supply to this revenue model pretty well. So it's similar.
As of now, for the last, please.
So this is important to know that in an organization, if you believe that 10 will contribute from beginning to end, then you are living in a fool's paradise. Then your capability and capacity enhancement programs are not working fine. Then you have to relook at your learning programs, development programs, and you should realign with the modern trend, to make them equipped to handle current situation. That's how the organization will survive. Same goes to ICC. If ICC doesn't spread the grain across 100 countries, then by playing of 20 countries, you will not be able to survive or create a global economic forum.
But that is what is happening, because don't think beyond the 12 countries. I mean, other countries are not coming up the way. Say Ireland is just got a test status. Italy might get in another 3 years. Germany is just playing ICC. So, do you think this India's domination will continue? Looks like it will continue for another 4 5 years or maybe more. So,
So
do you think
what
that
is
is
see we are third largest economy now, fourth largest economy
correct?
now. So definitely
Correct.
this leadership will continue because everybody wants to be part of the growth story. Nobody wants to go for a declining market. Nobody wants to invest cricket in Greece. Even this is a beautiful country, but nobody will play cricket in Greece because the economy doesn't survive. Like Oyan said very correctly, the West Indian cricket has died up not because of anything else, because basketball offers more money. The baseball offers more money to this gentleman than cricket. So if for their better livelihood, for better living, if they're choosing different profession to earn more money, that's why they're switching from cricket to baseball and basketball. So you're not getting talent, you're getting hue and cry. Nicholas Puran, Arvin is quitting the game at 29. Why? He wants to play the all T20 leagues of the world and earn money. Simple. So it is no crime earning more money by if you're offering best solution. And India will continue to dominate so. And there's no harm that Australia, New Zealand, England join the party by contributing more and more, make the ICC treasury with more and more money.
Currently, Kunal, these three countries and the SENA countries are unable to contribute more than 6.5. So
Why?
that is where they are saying that India should reduce and they should be allowed to get into 10-11%. That is the point which has been discussed.
How much contribution they are doing? Why they are not speaking? Why they are not saying I'm doing today 37, I'll do 50. Somebody say I'll do 40, let me do 60. Then I'll ask for more. Until unless I maintain my status quo in terms of earning revenue, and I expect more and more share. That is nothing but a colonialism, which happened in the past. And the white skins always try to, try to put you under a lot of radar. And then the moment you do well, they try to give you non-nasty. That's how the Muralidharan, that's how Saklin Mustaq, that's how Harbhajan Singh have been treated by the Western media. When they started bowling well, when they started panicking team, they played this card. And same this game is coming again in the terms of revenue model. Simple.
So you are saying that this will continue?
Until nobody comes and nobody has the same share.
So my last question, Ayan, to you is,
and it's better to continue. Sorry, I will just add one point.
Yeah.
It's better if ICC make any changes and make India to deprive of the shares. If India earn or generate lesser revenue, it's a loss to ICC, not to BCCI. Understand this.
Correct. Thank you, Kunal. No, your points are pretty clear because I wanted your points and you make sense. But I will ask the holistic part to Ayan. Ayan, do you think in the long run, if this continues, do you think there is a possibility the two-tier system might break the entire dividend, like the monkey, the Sandgate, or the 2001 Mike Dennis issue with Sachin Tendulkar was almost on the verge of breaking India world cricket. Do you think this money thing is going to break? Because South Africa, England, New Zealand seem to be very united against India now in this money issue.
It's the boards that are causing problems, right? But you think of the players. The players will ditch the board if India says that, okay, fine, our T20 championship will not allow you to play.
So you are agreeing to Kunal saying that if India reduces, then players will go and play other franchises to make the money.
No, I'm saying that if India today says that IPL, we will restrict the number of foreign players, or we will, if this board is creating problems for us, we will not take players from particular boards. See, IPL has become part of our lives. Okay.
Correct.
Whatever happens, IPL shall continue. Okay, so it is completely it's a seller's market, totally a seller's market. Okay, so now if India says that we will not allow players from South Africa to play in IPL, IPL will not diminish 1 inch. Nothing will happen to IPL. On the other hand, South African players will lose a lot. So they will go and stand against their board probably and say that, why are you doing this? We are, you guys are not paying us enough. Here is this, tournament where we can earn, in one version of the tournament, we can just earn more than what we earn playing for you in 10 years. So why should I play? I mean, forget it. I'm going to, not play for South Africa at all. I'm going to become an IPL player. Right, just like what we had in Kerry Packer's time, no? Because you think of Packer was the greatest,
Yes, that
example
is
of this.
exactly the discussion point of mine. Because I was trying to ask Kunal this good that you bought, but I think now it is going that direction. There might be a Kerry Packer scenario again in another 1 year to
But
2 years to
Rahul,
come.
what happened to Packer? See, in 1978,
But Packer
79.
revolutionized cricket. Packer revolutionized cricket, right?
No, Packer was a slap on the faces of the conservative England, Australia
Conservative.
boards, right? India was nothing then. I mean, it really was no non-entity that time financially compared to England and Australia. Packer just whammed them, right? Every single top player, especially of Australia and West Indies, ditched their own countries and played Kerry Packer. And what happened? The respective boards surrendered. Packer became the guy who controlled everything. Pajama cricket was born. So the finances, finances completely and utterly decided the course of cricket. Right? So what makes you think that there will be anything different now? I mean, the game will evolve. Whether it will evolve in a manner that old-timers like us prefer, that's a different question. Whether Test cricket is actually, which I think all of us feel is that form of the game which gets out the best out of cricketers. Whether the Indian Cricket Board, because of its fantastic financial prowess, whether they will give that much of importance to Test cricket in the future, probably that will continue. But again, I think the game will be somewhat diminished if most of the concentration of the game goes to its limited format. But there is no coming back.
So you say that whether India arm twist or whether India exercises an unholy grip on the world cricket, this model will continue. That's what your final take is.
Yes, because IPL is something that India's citizens cannot live without. That is very clear. I do not think that
apart
summer
from that,
needs IPL.
I agree. But it makes a lot of money also. It makes a lot of money.
Why?
Because it gets sustenance from IPL.
But because people are addicted to it. It is independent of the players. You forget about one country or not, two countries not playing. Even if a team has probably 2 or 3 foreign players, it has become such a part of the Indian narrative that it is not going to go. Okay, it's been like what, 17, 18 years that we are playing IPL. It has
16 years,
that amount of time.
Right.
So now think of it. We cannot even imagine a summer without the IPL. And there will be enormous viewership, right? Because we have so many, our population is so large, and 90% of our population is addicted to cricket and IPL, I would say. I mean, it has gone and entered the kitchen.
You brought a different point. Fair enough. So my final question, I know everyone is wanting to see the last few overs. My final question, Amit, Sudeep, and I'll come to Ayan and Kunal last. Do you think, Amit, to start off with you, this 38.5, what India is continuing to enjoy, will continue?
Absolutely. They might even ask for more in the coming years. If you have gone through some of the articles recently, even Saudi Arabia, with their so much of oil money, they are willing to pump in the Indian market for cricket. So if you see,
so you mean to say with South Africa, England, New Zealand, so much of pressure on ICC, India will continue its domination of that revenue share. I'm talking of the share.
Yes.
Okay, I mean,
yes,
thank you so much.
I do see.
So you do see no change at all. Sudeep, do you see any change in the? You are the first one to say equitable proportion. Do you see any change in the percentage in the next meeting?
I don't think any change. India's dominance is going to continue. There's no doubt about it. Because you have to see the business dynamics. That is going to decide. That is going to be the decider. So business dynamics is in favor of India.
So whether England, Australia tries to break out, they cannot break out because of the
I don't
money.
think,
Which
because they have
to.
No. It's not only just break out. They have to come up with the increased contribution. They have
to increase model, a new model where they can contribute more.
They have to contribute more.
Okay.
It cannot be one-way traffic.
Correct. Kunal, your final view, this model continues in spite of all its flip sides, which you first said that yes, ICC needs to look at why India is getting that. But do you, this model continues?
It should.
Okay. So in your organization also, you say this will continue if 10 people are doing 90% job. It will.
No, I have not said this. I have said it very differently. I said that other people, 90 people, out of that 10-20% population have to come to the 10% level to earn that 10%
Come
money.
up to the programs. Yeah, come up to the programs. So do you see Ireland, Afghanistan, Kenya, these people in maybe 5 years in a position to take England, South Africa, New Zealand 5%
I don't
revenue?
think so. I don't think so. I don't think
Okay,
so.
so 30, everyone is more or less agreeing that India will continue to hold its neck in this.
Yes.
Ion, your final
Yes.
take on all the discussions. Yeah, Ion, Kunal, you're saying something.
No, I'm done. I'm done.
Kunal,
I'm
you were
saying
saying
I'm
something.
done.
You're
I'm
done.
saying I'm done.
Okay,
Yeah.
Ion.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Kunal, Ion, your
I
final take on whether
my
this is going to continue or India will break down
India
in the
will
next ICC
absolutely.
meeting.
India will not break down because I think the other countries will not dare disturb, the revenue model, the amount of money that India brings in. They do not dare to sort of have any kind of, to put India, to rub India the wrong way. They do not dare to do that. I'm sure about it.
No,
And
they
I'm
don't
happy.
dare, but
I'm happy about it actually. But what I am
New
concerned
Zealand and
about,
Australia are really pushing it very hard. If you can
they
see the
might push
media
it. They
reports, they
might,
are pushing
but
it very hard,
I
very
see.
hard.
I think the current, the dispensation that is, that in that rules India and by extension that is ruling the ICC as well. I think they're very good business people. I mean, these people, Jai Shah is basically a business person, right? I mean, his
Correct,
how
correct.
much he is as a
Absolutely.
cricketer, that can be questioned, but his business acumen, I do not think can be
Acumen
questioned.
is absolutely
It's a fantastic. It's
question.
much better, probably the English and the whatever the New Zealand and the the
Probably
Aussie
he
board.
is in the Jagmohan Dalmia. He's in the Jagmohan Dalmia line.
I think
Probably.
Jagmohan Dalmia was an absolutely passionate cricket enthusiast. Jaisha, I don't know whether he's at all, there are any cricket credentials he has at all, that I don't know. He may have, but I'm sure that he's a very good business person. He's a very good businessman. And as such, I think he's a better businessman than the other representatives of the other countries, right? So that I am almost certain that India will not budge an inch. What I'm not happy about is the ICC is showing a bit of myopia. Cricket as a game,
its viewpoint is myopic. Its viewpoint is
it's
myopic.
myopic
Yeah.
because unless you get in, if you have an international game where only 5 countries are, of the same league and the others are minnows, that game is probably heading for a not so green a future. That the ICC has to realize and thereby do something to help the countries which are struggling. And I would be very happy if India, because it is earning, because it is getting the lion's share of the revenue, turns to be a bit altruistic. If India sort of, helps these countries, India easily can do that. If they can, and that will be actually known to be a
But
very,
Ion,
very positive
there is the
gesture.
dichotomy. If India goes on to help, its revenue share goes down. If India
Yeah,
goes on to
but
help, its revenue goes down.
no. But at the same time, the game progresses more. So I would say, this is an investment. If tomorrow West Indies and Pakistan and Sri Lanka and maybe some other two, England, Holland and other countries, they suddenly come up, then the game grows. I mean, you sell it more. West Indies as a market is not so great. Holland as a market is not so great. So if you can actually push cricket into them, if you can help West Indies achieve even a part of their old glory, it is always going to be a good business strategy, right? Because I'm sure that is how businesses expand. Because if you have a Sikh unit, if you can make the Sikh unit, perform well, if you make it unsick, if you make it go, if you cure its sickness, then I'm sure that it is favorable business-wise. I'm sure Kunal or the other, you guys are, are deep down into businesses. I mean, if you can, basically cure a Sikh unit as a business sense, I think, as a business strategy, I think it makes maximum sense.
Thank you, Ion. Really thanks, because we had a very heated and a very nice and a complicated topic, because we wanted to discuss whether this model, one, is okay, and second, whether India continues to dominate this model. So we had an overwhelming answer that India will continue to dominate this model. There are loopholes and lacunas to this, But we have unanimously morally decided that India will continue to dominate. And as Sudeep rightly pointed out, if there is an equitable proportion coming up from the other countries, only then can they challenge. Otherwise, it is impossible for a lot of people to challenge what is going on, whether good or bad. Time will tell. On that note, we would like to draw a end to this wonderful double header that we had for today. The second portion was very lively and a lot of points, and Kunal's participation we required, and Ayan also. Thank you so much, Amit, Sudeep, Kunal, and Ayan. We'll see you soon. Good night and take care.